Happy Friday, everybody. Today we are looking at the N-Scale Athearn articulated auto racks. Alrighty, so before we jump into this, honestly, this is more of a direct comparison between the Atlas articulated auto racks that I did a few weeks back. Please go watch that first. It has good information about those, but there's going to be a lot of references to them compared to these, so important to have the context there. But TLDR, these are drastically better pieces of rolling stock in my opinion, and to be quite honest, most of the Athearn stuff that I have brought in lately has just been knocking it out of the park. Now, honestly, I've had excellent things to say about all of the Atlas rolling stock, the Athearn rolling stock lately. These are not quite as good as some of the others that I've brought in, but again, comparatively, much more usable, and frankly, I think they look a lot nicer than the Atlas articulated auto racks. Now, I understand that these are not like-for-like same models, but really, these do have a nicer look to them. So let's go ahead and zoom in. We'll take a look at all the details, and I have to say they really did a good job with those details. And then we will talk about how well they run on the layout. Alrighty, we are up close and personal. I have both models sitting here. They are different side to side, so I will roll this one out of the way once we get a look at it here, and we will check out what the other side looks like on the other model. Athearn did an excellent job. Before we go too much further, body-mounted coupler, a slightly longer shank. Because of the body mount, they are pretty reliable. I didn't have any derailing on any of my tighter radiuses. 13 is the tightest I ran it down. I did also do a little bit of 12 on my old layout. However, these just simply cannot function on the 9-inch radius. So keep that in mind. They are for the wider radius track. I will get to the couplers when we talk about the usability of these things, but from factory metal wheel sets, they're smooth, they don't have a lot of drag, they run relatively quietly, but they do have a bit of a tinny sound to them. Part of that probably is amplified by the hollow kind of resonating chamber of this particular car. We will look at the doors when we switch angles here, but they're actually pretty well put together as well. The added ladder footsteps are a little bit off color, but at a distance they do look pretty nice on the model. Added air valve down there looks really nice. As we continue down this, you can see that all of the words on here are legible and you can read them. They are super minute and very well silk screened on here. These are BNSF units. The roofs are kind of plasticky looking. What we would call in the business the aluminum colored paint kind of gives it a plasticky effect. I would think with a little bit of weathering, these would be really nice looking cars. The articulation is solid on these. They don't come apart. And for the most part, they do work pretty well. The bellows are a little bit plasticky. Again, at a little bit of a distance, it's not noticeable, but up close, you can really tell. As we continue down the car, really good detail again. Everything is silk screened nicely. And we have some added detail down here. You can see the chain connected there, and everything just looks nice and crisp and well put together. Alrighty, here's the second unit. For the most part, identical, other than down here is the brake system. We have some slightly different things going on here. There's what looks to be like a torsion bar running across the bottom there. Not really totally sure how that works. Underneath we have the ribbing. This is, I'm sure, on the prototype to add strength. And honestly, all around a pretty nice car. Let's go ahead and turn this direction. And we will roll this one back into the shot. And you can see the doors are nicely put together. and have good detail on them. Okay, so now we're back pulled out, and I want to talk about the usability of these cars. And the new releases of rolling stock, and I'm not sure, it seems like Athearn is going to come out with some more of these pretty soon, so I'm guessing these were old stock. The new couplers tend to function a whole lot better. I've had really good luck with Athearn couplers on the more modern releases. These have the kind of droop to them that I was used to seeing on a lot of other pieces of Athearn rolling stock. It's an indication that they're probably older and they're just not up to what I think are the new quality standards coming out of Athearn. But I need to get some more pieces of rolling stock to actually say that for sure. But honestly, they did function pretty well regardless. What I'm running into is they stay connected really well. They hook up to microtrains pretty darn well. Really good with Accumates. Function flawlessly with scale trains couplers. But the kind of knockoff microtrains tend to really struggle to connect to these. Like the Broadways don't run, legitimate microtrains couplers. But for the most part, they do function pretty well. I don't think these are really switching cars, but that's not necessarily an excuse. They should couple pretty well regardless. So a little bit of a knock there. The one thing I have to say, though, is once they're coupled, they stay coupled really well. And these particular pieces of rolling stock can do something that the Atlas could not. And it shows that they've really got the engineering down on these. And that, at the end of the day, means these are going to stay planted when you're pulling them around the layout with a lot of load behind them. Let me quickly demonstrate what I'm talking about. I'm hooked up to a substantial number of cars. A couple of them are some of my covered hoppers that have old, worn-out microtrains wheel sets on them. They're difficult to push and they're heavy. I'm just going to reach over here. And I am going to push that car through a set of turnouts. That is something the Atlases would derail doing every time. As soon as the center would come across the turnout and there was any amount of load in front of it, it would just buckle and kind of pop off the tracks. These things stay planted, and that is a awesome thing. Not really a necessary feature, but if it can do that, it generally means that it's going to be pretty solid regardless of what you do with it. So, with that in mind, I ran these at the front of many consists with lots of weight behind them. And again, a little bit lighter pieces of rolling stock stay planted really well. I didn't have any derailing problems. They ran through my double crossover when I had my old layout. They run through my single crossover right now. No problems. They can be pushed through that single crossover with a moderate load in front of them. You put, half a loop of cars in front of it, anything being pushed through that turnout is going to struggle a little bit. But honestly, these have been awesome when it comes to reliability. They stay connected pretty well. And I mentioned that these have metal wheel sets. They have a bit of a tinny sound when running on the layout. I have noticed with the higher density foam underneath this, on my new layout, they run a little bit quieter than what I was used to. So when I was looking back at my notes, I maybe kind of sort of overestimated that a little bit, but they are relatively quiet. They're not annoyingly loud. There are some of those metal wheel set cars that have kind of that resonating chamber that can get really annoying, and I got a couple passenger cars that are that way. But anyway, awesome runnability on these things. They really do work good. They look great. Time to talk price, because these they come in at a price point that is really pretty good in my opinion. Now, I'm finding them on eBay now because they're I'm waiting for the next series of these to be released. I bought these on Lombard. I got them for $39 a piece, which seems a little bit pricey, but they are kind of two cars if you think about it. And for reference, on eBay at the moment, the Concors with microtrains for just a standard auto rack, they're running $25 to $30. The Intermountain, really gorgeous, but we'll get to that in a few weeks. They're about $51. The new scale trains ones came out. They're like $46. And those Atlases, I want to say they were right around $40 too when I picked them up. So honestly, these are some of the cheapest ones out on the market, and they're some of the best looking. And so I can't not recommend these. The couple small things that kind of disappoint me, I hope the next run has the better couplers on them. I think these are a little bit older. They get that figured out, these will be a grade A, buy them all day, perfect set it and forget it piece of rolling stock. So if you come across these and there's a good deal on them, I would not hesitate to pick them up. I've really enjoyed them, and they really do look nice running on the layout. So have a good weekend, everybody, and I will see you this Sunday for our live stream Railside chat. I think I'm going to try to do some layout work on the live stream. Also, I probably will do maybe a little something special for the 1,000 subscribers. I hit that earlier this week, so that's awesome. Thank you, everybody. And, yeah, I'll see you this Sunday. Bye now.